Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast, where I go over the top news of the last week in retro handhelds, retro gaming, and just gaming in general. Finally, we get the first build of Azahar, the 3DS emulator developed by the Avengers. Well, actually, there's been 3 new updates as of this video. Release candidates 1 to 3. So, great news, this installed right over Lime 3DS for me. I didn't notice any issues, so it seems like you can just do that. And that's also great because it kept my sync thing in line and I didn't really have to change anything on the configuration side. Now, secondly, with this change, you do need to rename your ROMs from .3DS to .cci. And it is actually that simple. You just rename the file extension. So make sure Show File Extensions is on in Windows or whatever you're looking at, and then rename it from .3DS to .cci. Otherwise, hey, awesome 3DS emulation is back and is being worked on, and maybe now they can add some retro achievement support. Please, I am begging you. muOS Pixie is out and ready to be flashed on your Anbernic H700 device. Yours truly has a guide out on how to do just that, so check it out. I can't really point to a single big feature with this release. Instead, it's a lot of quality of life improvements, a lot of just little updates that add up into a big update. Long story short, if you do want to update, which you should, then go ahead and grab it, and I have a guide out on how to help you. This comes in from Matt Davis, so thank you, Matt. Google announced that Android games will be available to play on PC. And also, they made it easier for PC games to be played on Android thanks to going all in with Vulkan as their default graphics API and providing some other tools to developers. Now, this is actually pretty big news because it helps developers just port their games to mobile a lot easier as well. So for those of you that have been buying and playing a lot of mobile games that have been ported over, you're going to see a lot more probably. It's a win-win for everybody. We're getting more games coming to mobile, and we're getting more mobile games coming to PC. The Odin 2 Portal got an over-the-air update addressing a few issues. First, it fixed an issue that apparently the status bar wasn't displaying when color modes were changed. Some sort of weird display thing when using black wallpaper. And then, the big one is an FPS calibration. Because before, the Odin 2 Portal, at least mine, would only get up to 119.6 Hz, instead of the full 120. And after doing this calibration, it is now full 120. It didn't affect anything that I was aware of or that I could tell when I was testing, but hey, it's fixed, it is a full 120 or a full 60, and you're off to the races. Then lastly, we have an optimization of the green tint issue at low brightness, which somehow I still do not have or cannot see. I have been trying to find this. I think I'm lucky. I don't have it. Overall, great update and hope to see more. RPCS3 on Android is absolutely flying with updates right now. We are now on Alpha 5.2, I believe, as of this morning or last morning. And either way, we have custom driver support added and some other new settings. I saw something about initial support for decrypting ISOs, but I haven't tested it. So I actually did load this up and I was going to test it, but it is still very, very alpha, even for me. So I am going to wait a little bit longer, but RPCS3 on Android is moving super fast. See, all we had to do was wait for a real project to come along, and now we're going to get the benefits. Okay, so today's question of the week comes from what I'm doing today, which is when this goes live. And I took the day off to play some video games. Yeah, I took Friday off to play some Assassin's Creed Shadows. And look, I'm not a big Assassin's Creed fan. I like the games quite a bit, but not a big fan in that way. But it just lined up. It was like the perfect storm of the game that I was looking for right now to just dive deep into. Has great graphics, has great gameplay, all of that. I've been playing a little bit as of last night, and probably when this goes live, I played a lot more. So yeah, this is the perfect timing for me. So the question is, when is the last time or last game that you took a day off for? Either at launch or maybe it was a little bit after launch, whatever it was. You just sat down and you're like, I'm going to play this game the entire day. The wife and kids can go wherever else they go. The dog can go wherever else he goes, all that sort of thing. And you're like, I'm just going to sit down and veg. I'm going to have Uber Eats on standby and just play. That's it. So personally, I do this with big releases that I am super excited for. I did it for Spider-Man, I did it for Persona, I've done it for Astrobot, I did it for Breath of the Wild, all that sort of thing. And in all of those scenarios, it's worked out really well because those were awesome games, and I just got to sit there for an entire day and just go crazy and play. And then I had scenarios where it just did not work out, like Cyberpunk at launch, for example, or Last of Us 2, which I'm not going to talk about, but scenarios like that. So I am curious. Let me know in the comments. Are there people like me? Do you take a day off of work and just play some games? The Analogue 3D is delayed until July. Now, for those of you that don't know what this is the Analogue FPGA N64 console that they're making. It allows up to 4K upscaling and all that sort of thing, and it is FPGA. So this is coming direct from Analogue, delayed until July. Which, sure, take your time. I'm not in any rush to get this. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it, but sure, I have it on pre-order. It'll arrive when it arrives. I'm more excited for the controller, which I should have known when that got delayed to July, that this would get delayed to July, because I want that N64 controller real bad from 8BitDo, but sure, take your time, whatever. The Miyoo Flip version 2 is now out, according to a lot of retailers and resellers and all that sort of thing. So you could find it out there in the wild. The V2 apparently has a better hinge, better firmware, better sticks, and better shell plastic. So good for them for finally releasing the device they should have released a few weeks or months ago. Now, I had said in my Flip video, not review, but my Flip video of the version 1, that I was going to wait for the version 2 to do a final review. And I'm kind of rethinking that now. I don't know if it deserves it. I don't know if I want to. I would have to spend another $80 to buy another Flip. I don't know if I would get anything back from that sort of review. I don't know if it would be any different. I would probably just be like, okay, the hinge is better, but still not a great device. I would still buy the SP over the Flip, the Miyoo Flip. And now we have the Retroid Pocket Flip coming, and I know they're different price brackets, but buy once, cry once. If it's good, that's kind of how I see it. I don't know. I am still thinking about it. I don't know if I will buy it for review, the version 2. I don't know if I have the motivation to do it. I don't know if there's enough there for me to be like, it's an entirely different device, because I don't think it is. So we'll see. I'll think about it. The Retroid Pocket Mini Saga for the display issues, I think, is finally at its end, and I think we actually have a decent conclusion to it, which we'll talk about right now. So the biggest of which is it was discovered after my actual video detailing all of the issues, thanks to Yvettle Griffin, I think I'm saying that right, and then confirmed, thanks to Gamma, that the mini screen is actually larger than the shell. And so the tops and bottom of the screen was being hidden behind the shell and the bezels. So apparently they did this to make it a 4x3 display. Because if you didn't, it would be a 3.92-inch 1240 by 1080 Ayaneo DMG screen. That's exactly what it is. And they're also using it in the Retroid Pocket Classic. That is the exact same screen that is in the Mini, except they hid the tops and bottoms of it to make it a 4x3. So it only makes sense as to why people are having issues displaying shaders. Only makes sense as to why the screen isn't showing up properly. And I think my biggest problem with this is Retroid knew from the beginning. So the entire 5 months, they knew. And so the kind of gaslighting of we're looking into it, we're checking with supplier, all that sort of thing is you knew the entire time. There is no way you don't know. Look, I know there are some people out there that are like, maybe they didn't know. Maybe it was a supplier. And this isn't the Magic X situation. Retroid has made so many devices at this point. They have done teardowns of those devices. They have all of that sort of thing. There is absolutely no way they did not know what was inside of the device. So yeah, they knew that the screen in here was being overlapped by the shell and the bezels, whatever you want to call it. And so they would have known that it was unfixable because of what they did. So the resulting fix is you are now able to get that front-facing shell shipped to you in mid-April or end of April in only the black color with the full screen as it is without it being hidden. So you're going to get that full 3.92-inch 1240 by 1080? Yeah, 1240 by 1080 AMOLED screen, because that's exactly what's there. It's the exact same as the classic screen. So for those of you that have a Mini and are bothered by this issue, send an email in to Retroid. They will take care of you. They will send you one. I already got an email back saying that, yeah, we'll send you one. So yeah, it was pretty simple. Just send an email. The one thing that sucks is it's only the black front. So you're going to have a mismatched casing shell. But at this point, I think this is the best solution that we're going to get. And I even spoke with a few people that were affected by this issue, that are actually affected by this issue, that brought this issue up back in October. And even they are slightly happy with the solution. They would have liked, obviously, other options, but this is the best we're going to get. So I think all around it is a good ending for a lot of people, but it really does sour a lot of things by how this was handled. Now, I do want to go all the way back to something. They had a 3.92-inch 1240 by 1080 screen in the Mini that they chose to hide. This is the part that I'm not going to understand. I get that you want to make a 4x3 device, but the amount of people that would have been happy with the original screen if you did not hide behind the shell would have been bigger than the amount of people that are buying just because it's a 4x3 without black bars. Look, it is a 3.92-inch screen. So instantly, the crowd that is like, 3.7 inches too small, I need 4 inches, would now be available and now would want to purchase this. And then secondly, the 4x3 content would still be the same as you had it before. I can't remember. I think I did this using that screen site. And I think it came out to be a little bit bigger if they didn't remove the bezel. I don't remember, but either way, you get the best of all worlds there. I personally would have loved to have this screen originally on the Mini, and now you're going to get it. But I mean, they should just sell this now. They should just sell it as is. I don't care if it's just black. Just sell a black version of it with the screen as it is, 3.92-inch, 1240 by 1080, and leave it like that. The whole mortgaging of the house for a custom OLED panel that he wants to do for the B2 of the Mini, scrap all that. I don't know why you need to do all of that. You have the right panel. It is a good panel. Just use it. Like, it's so very confusing, this whole scenario. I don't get it. So anyways, long story short, the Ayaneo Pocket DMG screen equals the Retroid Pocket Classic screen equals the Retroid Pocket Mini screen. And so all of this, the saga, all of it is over at this point. We can move on. I don't have to talk about this anymore until mid-April, end of April comes, and we see how much it takes to put in one of these screens or the shells, but we'll leave it until then. But we've reached a conclusion, so let's move on. Speaking of the Retroid Pocket Classic, we actually found out what it's going to be shipping with from a CPU perspective, and it is the new Snapdragon G1 Gen 2 processor. The processor does not support video out, which is why the device does not have it. And I'm not going to sit here and make guesses as to what performance this is going to be able to do and if it will be able to do Saturn. So we're going to wait until I get this in for review. But a Snapdragon CPU for $120 is great. That is awesome. So good news. The Retroid Pocket Flip 2 and Classic did go up for pre-order on Monday night. So I'm curious, did you pre-order one? Now, anecdotally, from what I can see on my end, which is my own affiliate links and all that sort of thing, it's a massive drop compared to the Retroid Pocket 5 and the Retroid Pocket Mini launch, and also the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro launch. So it is a very big difference for these two devices compared to before. And there could be a variety of different reasons. It could be people boycotting. It could be no interest in the Flip. Could be no interest in the Classic. Could be no interest in both, all that sort of thing. So I don't know the reasons. I just know from my own data, my own analytics, it's about a third of people ordering compared to the other launches, which is a very big drop. We'll see if that changes when reviews go out and these get high reviews and all that sort of thing. If that's what's going to happen, who knows? Now, I do need to point something out because I can see this data. There are a lot of you that are not using the coupon codes for free money off of your order. You're getting a free $5 or $10 or whatever it is off of your order. why are you not using these codes that exist for you in the pre-order period? It is absolutely free money. I looked and I was curious because I can see like what people order, and that's kind of it, just the items, and it'll show you if the discount code is there. Most of the orders did not have the discount codes. I don't know what that says. You guys are a little bit rich out there, but get your free money, man. I don't know. Just do it. I'm not sure why I am sharing this, but it is a deal and you should know. It is different than most deals that I share. The Ayaneo Pocket Micro Classic is on GoGameGeek's website for $209 US. But if you use my code Joey for 15% off, it is $178 US shipped. That is $36 US less than Ayaneo's pricing directly. So this is a deal and a half for anybody that is wanting to buy the Ayaneo Pocket Micro Classic, which you probably aren't watching my video anyways if you're one of those people, but if you are going to buy one, then save yourself $36, why don't you? This is funny because it took me 1 week to disprove the whole Go Game Geek and resellers aren't the best option for people. I'm kidding. It ended up being a scenario like this where for some reason they have the best price by a lot. And so, yeah, save some money. It's $36. Anbernic also has a sale going on right now on their website, and honestly, there are some great prices. Nearly everything is marked down. There's a link in the description if you want to check that out, but my suggestion is the RG Cube XX. I like that one. Okay, so just quickly on the Anbernic RG557 rumors that keep popping up for some reason. I wasn't going to report on this because I followed the sources, I followed where this came from, and there was no real mention of it being an Anbernic device. And so when I saw it being reported on and shared by many different people, I was like, how did you come to this conclusion? Because it doesn't match up. Anyways, the original part of this came from Silicon Den, and a user there went to CES, found a booth that showed some handhelds. One of them was an Anbernic with it scratched off, and then other devices from other companies. And then one of those devices is the Anbernic RG557 in quotes that people are reporting on. Now, the supposed 557 has no ties to Anbernic at all in any way, shape, or form, besides being on the same desk that another device was on, which was an Anbernic, combined with a bunch of other devices that are not Anbernics. So I don't know if this was a broken telephone situation. It could be real. It could be Anbernic's device, but none of the clues, none of the actual factual information points to it being an Anbernic device. So I am very confused and just, yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to report on this again. Just felt weird to keep seeing it, and I kept getting asked about it, and so I figured I would just throw this in this video. Qualcomm had a big event where they actually spent some time talking about retro handhelds and handhelds in this space because a lot of them are getting their new Snapdragon CPUs. For example, in one picture, we see the Retroid Pocket Classic, the Ayaneo Pocket S2, the One Sugar thing, the Ayaneo DMG or DMG2, the Ayaneo tablet, some sort of phone or something, I'm not sure what that is, a Logitech G Cloud 2, another Pocket S for some reason, and I guess the Evo 2 as well, kind of. Oh, and then in a separate picture is a Retroid Pocket 6 being teased with the new Snapdragon CPU. So my main takeaway from this is we are getting a new Logitech G Cloud 2, which is absolutely fantastic, as long as they can price this properly, instead of like they did last time, which the fact that they have not lowered the price of that thing over the years does not give me hope that this new one will be at a good price, but I'm still holding out hope because the Logitech G Cloud 2 is among one of the best handhelds in this space, Logitech G Cloud 1 is, so a 2 version of that would be fantastic. Second is confirmation that there's a Retroid Pocket 6 coming with the new Snapdragon CPU. And I mean, yeah, they're going to make a Retroid Pocket 6, obviously. I think the cool thing is seeing the CPU that they're going to use, and it seems like it will be a in-between between the 865 and the Odin 2's 8 Gen 2. So we will see, I guess. I don't know. I'm not going to make any guesses as to what it can do. We'll see. I'm hoping that this doesn't mean it is soon, because if I see a summer Retroid Pocket 6, I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy with that, especially when we went from a Retroid Pocket 5 to the Flip 2 to the Classic, and now a 6 right after, real close. I don't know. Maybe still October. Maybe it is still far away. I have no idea. But all this says is that they're coming. It should make you excited that Qualcomm is devoting resources to handhelds and our little space. So that is really cool. Awesome to see. Makes you wonder why Anbernic isn't on that graphic at all. Anbernic is bigger than all of these companies but combined. So it's kind of confusing as to where are they? Why aren't they included? Are they not going to get Snapdragons? It is a very weird scenario. Maybe Anbernic's just getting out of this whole game. Who knows? Don't forget that this month's game of the month is Super Princess Peach for the Nintendo DS. And this month's ROM hack of the month is Pokemon Fool's Gold. Come join the Discord and play both with all of us. Now, on that note, I finally finished Super Princess Peach. And I have to say, it is a fun platformer. It dragged a little bit at the end. And also, I kind of got annoyed by the fact that you have to collect all of the toads to be able to do the final level. That part was annoying, but overall it was a good game. It was fun. I also finished Pokemon Fool's Gold, and that was super fun because it is just Pokemon Crystal with all of the Pokemon having different types and different moves, so it's entirely different. And you don't know what you are getting. You don't know how to beat them until you fight them. And so it ends up being a scenario where it is an entirely fresh game that you are going into without knowing things. And that felt cool. It felt fun to do. Lastly, I finished Adventure Island on the Game Boy on the weekend as well. And Adventure Island is one of those games I had as a kid and I loved as a kid, but I have not beaten it or finished it in 30 years maybe. I don't know. It's been a long, long time. So that felt fun to just finish a game that I remember beating as a kid. And yeah, Adventure Island, super fun game. So for those of you keeping count, that is 3 games beaten just this week. And I'm still working on Emerald Sea Glass, Pokemon Emerald Sea Glass. And I just started Assassin's Creed Shadows. Those will be my 2 games going on for the next week or so. Let's get into some Q&A. Newscast@joeysretrohandhelds.com is the email address. Or you can come join the Discord. There's a channel, Newscast Q&A. You can send in your questions through there. So let's jump in. This first question comes in from Malson, and it was a question that I misread or misunderstood last week. What is your threshold for what you consider to be retro with consoles and handhelds, and why? So I was dumb last week, and I thought he meant handhelds and handheld designs. But what he really means is, do I consider PS2 retro? Do I consider GameCube retro? Those types of things. And I don't know if I have a line for systems and where I consider retro and don't. But if I'm thinking about it, maybe PlayStation 4 is the line for that is now modern and everything below it is retro. So I still consider Xbox 360, PS3, GameCube, PS2, all that sort of thing as retro and retro games. To me, PS4 might be the line where I'm like, yeah, that is now modern. Those games are getting ported. Those games are getting re-released, remade. They're available everywhere, all that sort of thing. It is entirely different. It is not a retro situation, at least to me. This question comes in from Y'allspark. Are you getting the new Pebble watch? I absolutely did order the new Repebble Core 2 Duo. For those of you out of the loop, Pebble is a smartwatch that existed many, many years ago. It was, I think, the first or one of the first types of smartwatches. It had an e-ink screen, and all it did was have a massive battery. It had just notifications, and that was it. And then we started to get more and more watches that changed all of that. We would get video calling on them. We would get 18-hour battery life because for some reason you don't need your watch to last you the entire day. We would get scenarios where it would add heart rate monitoring, all these sorts of things. And those are cool. Do not get me wrong. I have seen those stories of heart rate monitoring, saving a person, all that sort of thing. But I just wanted a watch that would show me notifications and last longer than a day. And in this scenario, the Pebble was the perfect watch. I loved my Pebble. Had 2 or 3 of them when they were coming out, and I loved them. They had issues, of course, but they were great little smartwatches. And now, one person has financed an entire project to come up with new Pebbles. And so we are back, baby. We are so back. And I pre-ordered the Core 2 Duo. There are two options. I grabbed that one. And so I'm very excited to see it. I was using a Galaxy Watch, which I moved to a Redmi Watch 4 because I got tired of it not lasting battery life and also just too many features. I don't care about fitness. I don't care about any of that. Just tell me the notification of what is being told on my phone and last. That is it. The Redmi Watch 4 is actually really good. It lasted me my entire 2 weeks at Europe, and it would have lasted me another 2 weeks. It has like a month-long battery life, but it still has too much of the fitness stuff. It has too much of that crap. So yeah, I'm super excited for a Pebble. Bring it on. This question comes in from Jeff. Hey Joey, one of the ways that we rank handhelds is by their emulation performance. For example, the Retroid Pocket 5 has good emulation performance with some limitations for Switch according to retrocatalog.com. The question is, why isn't budget hardware in 2025 able to run games reliably from 10, 20, 30 plus years ago? Is it really only a software issue? So this question threw me for a loop because you were asking about 10 plus years ago, but then you brought up the Switch. Then I forgot that the Switch has been 8 years ago. So yeah, I get it. Okay. The Switch emulation part is different. Switch is being hit by DMCAs left, right, and center. Anybody that is going to try and work on a Switch emulator is getting hit by that. All of the good developers don't want to do that or deal with that. There are still some good ones that are left, but would you want to work on a project that could be killed instantly at the whim of Nintendo if you were a developer like that? Probably not. So the main reason we haven't seen big advancements in Switch, even though it is actually at a really good spot, is because people don't want to work on the emulator because they're going to get taken down. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense to put in a lot of effort on it until Nintendo stops doing that, which probably soon. Although if the Switch 2 is going to be based off of the Switch 1 architecture, it might be a while on that scenario. Now, if we talk about retro systems, Nintendo 64 is hard to emulate because of the architecture. It is a very different architecture. So when you see people that are like, yeah, I have Nintendo 64 running under $100 for those devices, no, you do not. You don't know how N64 runs. You don't know how it looks. When you're looking at Mario's face and it is pure white because the textures aren't being rendered properly, it's because it isn't being rendered properly. N64 is a hard one because of the architecture issues. Saturn being another one that is difficult because of multiple processors, all that sort of thing. But then if you focus on those scenarios, you're ignoring all of the other handhelds and consoles that are running semi-perfectly. Super Nintendo, Game Gear, Genesis, Game Boys, Game Boy Color, PS1, all these sorts of things that, yeah, we are getting really good emulation. And this might be different because me growing up, putting VBA with Pokemon Blue on a floppy disk and using that in my computer to emulate, to now where we have PS3 emulation, we have Switch emulation, we have all these sorts of things. So seeing the progress being made over years to where we've gotten, I am shocked that we have what we have because you never would have seen it growing up. It was crazy to see all of this happen in real time. So I don't know. To answer your question, which I forget the question now, hold on. Why isn't budget hardware able to run games reliably? I would argue the different. I would argue that budget hardware can do it reliably for a lot of systems that maybe you're discounting or maybe you don't play, but yeah, no, we are eating well when it comes to budget hardware and what it can play. Absolutely, in my mind. That is all we have again this week. So newscast@joeysretrohandhelds.com to send in your questions, or again, come join the Discord and send it in through the channel. Appreciate you all for watching, and that's all from me. Repentini, Quebec. Let's go with that one.